at the very core of our lives is relationship. The measure of a good life is, am I in great relationship? Am I in great relationship to myself? Am I in great relationship to reality? Am I in great relationship with my beloved, with my circle of beloveds? Reality is relationship. It's the structure of reality. Relationship is the path. Relationship is both the path and the destination. And in a true reality, there's no split between them. So reality is relationship, 1. 2, reality is evolution. 2, those are structural facts. If you actually look at the deepest scientific structures as articulated in completely, I would call, almost materialistic papers on the structure of reality, for example, a set of papers issued by NASA, right, on what are the shared structures of cosmos, right? The papers disclose, like pure gorgeous science, that the shared principle of reality is what they call, in that particular set of scientific essays, the connectivity principle. What they mean is relationship. Reality is evolution. Reality is relationship. Reality is the evolution of relationships. That's the tripartite structure. That's the tripartite jeweled notion of reality. Reality is relationship. Reality is evolution. Reality is the evolution of relationships. That's 3. 4, relationship has a narrative arc. That's 4. Relationship has a narrative arc. 5, in the narrative arc of relationship, there's always crisis. Crisis is not a bug in the system. Crisis. No, crisis is a feature. It's the structure of reality all the way up, all the way down the evolutionary chain. That's 5. 6, the crisis of relationship can only be solved at a higher level of relationship. 7, by relationship, we mean intimacy. Intimacy means the movement towards larger wholeness, which is right relationship between parts. So every crisis of relationship is a crisis of intimacy. Now, remember Albert Einstein, right? His famous, kind of citation, right? A crisis at one level of consciousness can only be solved by upleveling to a higher level of consciousness. But that's just an elliptical way of saying relationship, meaning the higher level of consciousness is a higher level of relationship. So now, 9. So any crisis in your and my life, and any crisis in the larger life, meaning any crisis in the personal, any crisis in the political, any crisis in the global, and if you go into the deep interior sciences, the meta crisis in God. But for now, you can start with the first 3. Every crisis is a crisis of relationship. Every crisis is a crisis of intimacy, which means I can't actually solve the crisis. I can't get to that place of crisis being a birth. I can't birth the emergent self, which is my transformed name that's yearning to be born, without which I will have no satisfaction, which is what it's all about, which is the very purpose of my life. I cannot do that without actually birthing the new level of relationship in every personal relationship, in my relationship to myself, into reality. It's only the birth of a new level of relationship that can actually take me the next step. I can't birth a new level of relationship until I have a vision of it, until I can feel it, until I can articulate it. I can reach for it. I've got to reach for it. I got to reach for it, and I've got to imagine it. I've got to see it. To see it, that's what we're going to do in these 3 weeks together. And I'm actually almost quavering, or I don't know what other words. Trembling is maybe a better word, with excitement about these 3 weeks. We're going to actually imagine, but in the most practical, grounded, and yet the largest way, right? The most metavisioned way, the future of relationships, right? The future of relationships. That's what this is about. Your relationship, mine, between beloveds. So if you're in a relationship of any kind, whether it's with a friend, a colleague, right? A classical beloved, a post-classical beloved, right? Any form. Or if you're not in a relationship of any form, well, then for sure come, right? But this is a place where we're going to get so specific and yet so broad, so personal and so cosmic. And we're going to literally, together with her grace, participate directly in a fundamental evolution of the source code of culture and consciousness. We were going to actually evolve together with so much humility, with so much tenderness, but with so much fierceness, right? The very source code of culture and consciousness, which is the evolution of love, which is to articulate together the future of relationships. So, oh my God, right? Let's do this. I can't wait to be there with you.